What's up, traders? Eric here from MajorLeagueTrading.com. And we're kicking off a really important week here. So I decided that I was going to take the morning off here and, really look to see what the afternoon would bring. But then eventually I was kind of like, forget the afternoon. I'll just go ahead and, call it a day. And we ended up making a really, really nice move here once we got up through this 49.29.50 level. And the big thing with this for me that I want to kind of touch on, which I dropped it in the Discord chat earlier this morning, was I didn't want to have any kind of FOMO coming into this week. So we have a really, really big week on our hands here. Just to touch on this first, right, SMCI came out after the bell today, FFIV here, we got Pfizer, GM, UPS coming out in the morning, and then the fun, this is kind of like a little teaser content, right, and a little teaser earnings, and then the fun, that was loud, and then the fun really starts, right, we got Microsoft, AMD, Google, Starbucks, Boeing on Wednesday, and then Qualcomm, we got Apple, Amazon, Meta on Thursday, and that's going to be just like back to back to back to back, something is going to be moving, right? We've even got Microsoft thrown in there, which is a pretty big name. It can have some pretty decent moves, like we saw AXP last week. So we've got a lot of things, right? And even REGN over here. Sometimes this one can actually be really, really fun. So there's a lot of little oddball names mixed with some really big names, obviously, like the Apples and the Amazons of the world here. And there's going to be a lot of sympathy plays that take place across all the board, or across the board on these as well. And I think it's going to be rather fun, but I didn't think today would be. And on top of all of this, right, the reminder here would be that we also have FOMC coming up on Wednesday. So 2 o'clock and then 2:30 for the press conference. We got just a really stacked calendar here for the week. So for me, I was going, okay, I'd like to just go ahead and chill this morning. And what ultimately ended up taking place to get back to this point, right? And I talked about this in a video a couple weeks ago, is I've been watching this 20.46.20 level here in the gold market for a while. And we've, managed to test it. We've managed to test it. But we've never been able to get through it in the way in which I wanted to see. And then really start getting something, moving here. So this morning, pre-market here for equities, U.S. market of 9:30 here. Gold opens here at 8:20, and we just got an absolute rip to the upside. In like 30 minutes there, we moved almost 10 points out of the gold market. And it was a really clean looking, nice move, even with the pre-market action, all the things. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take a step back. I don't want to press anything here. And for the better part of the day, that was ultimately, the right decision here. If we look, kind of fast forward in throughout the day, I would have had to have sat and wait. Again, we don't have any real levels in here until we got up through 49.29.50s. These are no longer valid here in the Dow. Obviously, I didn't even finish my analysis before I left the desk and just left those on there. And with this, again, I would have had to have waited somewhere all the way over in here when we finally started getting divergences, maybe 10, 11 o'clock, right? And potentially have taken something in the Russell here from a long perspective with these divergences coming out of the NASDAQ, right? But at the same time, that trade also would have been a little bit difficult, right? Because there's a level right down here below at 441.75s here that I thought would trade in the S&Ps, or in the NASDAQ, sorry, before we got up into 763s, right? So ultimately here, I think I made the right decision in terms of my own mental capital, my own mental state here for being available and ready for what I think is to come here for the rest of the week, which are some better trading opportunities. Now, that brings me to some ideas here. The biggest thing going into tomorrow, right, S&Ps are going to be at new all-time highs, basically now. NASDAQ here still has that 763 level above here. So early morning divergences tomorrow, something similar to like what we saw today. And I like longs up into 763. And then the big question becomes is, okay, if we can get through 763s, then where do we go? And basically the moon, right? There's nothing above us here. We're going to be in open, open sky territory. So just look to trail it up if it does, in fact, want to make the move through that. And it very well could, just in anticipation of some of these earnings names, which is kind of crazy, right? We're seeing big moves, like, 1.43% the day before Microsoft is, reporting earnings, and it's up even more in after hours. It's up another, almost $2 right here in after hours. So another, 0.5%, give or take, right? Big moves, right? All the way across the board. So with that being said, keep an eye on that 763 at the moment. That's going to be the only thing. Divergences for longs here, I think, are going to be really nice. SMCI reported earnings after the bell here. This thing is going to be, I think, rather extended here to the upside. You can look at something like NVIDIA here. That's going to be extended to the upside in the morning. It doesn't mean it can't go higher. It's just going to be a bit extended here. And then to kind of bring it back to something that hasn't moved quite as much just yet here is going to be snow. But snow had a really decent rally today. And I want to go ahead and outline some new levels in here. I'll drop a full plan in this one for this week because I think, hopefully, right, if we can get a pullback in here, then I really, really like the opportunities for some longs again and see if we can rally up and get that, and see if we can rally up and get that 215 level and then maybe even a bit through that as well here. So there are a couple good things on the horizon. I want to let these charts come together just a little bit more here for us and then ultimately look to put some positions on from there. So anyways, that's what I've got here for tonight's free video. We are going to be kicking off as well. Just a quick reminder, the mentorship is going to start in basically 2 weeks. The wait list is currently open. Applications will be opening very soon for that. And we're going to be kicking that off on the 13th, spending Valentine's Day together and all of that fun stuff. So if you're interested in that, click the link just beneath this video, and I will see you guys there. Peace.